Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen out there in podcast listener land. This episode of The Tiger Pit is brought to you by Unplugged Essentials. Hemp is at the core of their innovation. However, not all hemp is created equal. Instead of using either isolated CBD or cannabis oil, which are the most popular cannabis-derived products out there on the market, they have infused their soaks with water-soluble hemp-derived phytocannabinoid-rich powder. This way, they make sure that their products take advantage of the several hundred bioactive components present in hemp. They make no compromise in quality whatsoever and ensure each batch is lab-tested and 100% THC free. You can find them on Instagram or Facebook, or you can go to unpluggedfloatessentials.com and get yours today. And if you use the promo code The Tiger Pit, you get additional 10% off your order when you go there. We're also brought to you by Knock My Legends. Knock My Legends celebrates the heroes, legends, and icons of Muay Thai and kickboxing. Their mission is to create art in the form of apparel that honors each fighter's contribution to the sport and the art that we all love. They have a great selection of shirts and other gear and accessories that highlight the greats from the sport, from the past all the way up to today. It's great gear if you want to pop a little style while you're training, or if you're just a fan of Muay Thai and want to represent the culture. You can go to knockmylegends.com as well as Facebook and Instagram and check out what they have. And when you're ready to buy something, enter the promo code The Tiger Pit for an additional 10% off your purchase. Again, that's knockmylegends.com or Knock My Legends on Facebook and Instagram. NAKMUAY Legends. We are also brought to you by Athlon Rub. Athlon Rub is the next generation in performance and recovery for all sports. It is a new approach on the traditional Thai oil formula, founded on a time-tested formula and enhanced through proven ingredients. Made in an FDA and ISO certified lab in the United States, it's certified and continually tested by Informed Choice to be free of banned substances, performance-enhancing drugs, and cross-contaminants. You can go to athlonrub.com and take a look at all the products that they have available, read testimonials from users, and see what everybody else is saying. And when you get some things in your cart, you can get an additional 10% off when you use the promo code The Tiger Pit. We are also brought to you by Diplomatico Rum. Diplomatico is distributed in over 80 countries around the world. It holds the Ron de Venezuela DOC and is recognized as one of the finest rums in the world. They have 3 different ranges for your tastes: traditional, prestige, and the distillery collection. You can find them online at rondiplomatico.com. That's rondiplomatico.com to learn more about who they are and find out some of the history behind one of my all-time favorite rums. We are also brought to you by the Stepping Razor Barbershop at 952 Flushing Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. The Stepping Razor leans into the realm of the classic 1940s American barbershop without being stuck in the retro vortex. They specialize in American classic traditional haircut styles and shaves, but they can do a whole lot more. You just got to ask them. Tell them what you want. You can check them out on Instagram at The Stepping Razor Barbershop, or you can go to thesteppingrazor.com and book your appointment and get yourself looking good and feeling good. And lastly, we are brought to you by the Dojo NYC at 1082 Cypress Avenue in Ridgewood. The Dojo is a fully equipped martial arts training center specializing in Cobrinha Jiu-Jitsu, traditional Muay Thai, and MMA. Whether you want to go and just get a good workout or compete at a high level, it's a great place to train. You can go to thedojonyc.com. That's thedojonyc.com. Check out their classes, their instructors and programs, and even sign up for a free trial class if you want to check it out. That's thedojonyc.com online and thedojonyc on Instagram. All right, we made it through it. Okay. Our guest on this episode is a world-renowned drummer, composer, and producer. His album and stage credits include Angelique Kidjo, Branford Marsalis, Carlos Santana, Wu-Tang Clan, RZA, Ghostface, Lee Scratch Perry, Erykah Badu, Bilal, The Man with the Iron Fist soundtrack, and you've seen him behind the kit on The Tonight Show with both Jay Leno and Jimmy Fallon, MTV, the Nobel Peace Prize concert, and a ton of other things. Jesus, he's got to get up pretty early in the morning. Anyways, will you please welcome to the Tiger Pit one of the best drummers on the planet and our old friend, Mr. Gintas Janusonis.
On the next episode episode of Adventures in Edibles.
It's a Cavarian and a Polish guy.
Okay, we'll start the podcast right here.
It's 9 o'clock. It's dark enough. I'm putting on my ninja suit.
That's the part, right? You gotta get into your head.
Now you're struggling with your words.
Check the Yelp reviews. I'm sure they have like 4. It's amazing.
I was trying to get that out, and I had a hard time struggling in my head.
They just see something they don't recognize and they check out immediately.
I had a point.
Coming to the stage.
I've heard this many times from different sources.
You didn't even know me when I was hanging out there.
This one was going to be the more together one.
Tiger Boot.
And I'm like blindfolded with dental floss. Like
I know the photo you're talking about. You're pounding like this huge beer. I'm staring at you, but it looks like I'm looking through your head.
Your mouth is open.
There's a fight happening right in front of us, and I'm looking at Bill.
What were you guys at MSG for?
We went to a Glory kickboxing match.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the fight breaks out in the.
No. But I'm saying like we could be watching a match.
Watching the fight. Okay, right.
I'd rather look at Bill's head. Obviously. Like I was mesmerized by his head. Like what the fuck, man?
That was good.
That was a fun night, actually.
Dude, how was Thailand?
It was excellent. It was great. But what a fucking crazy place, though.
Oh yeah.
You've been?
No, but I've been in Southeast Asia and South Asia. It's
crazy, right?
Yeah.
Dude, it's like I still can't get over it. It's just fucking bananas.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
fun as fucking hell.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
At least I went there to train, so I had a somewhat of a seatbelt.
Right. Yeah, you had something anchoring. Yeah.
Because if I had not had that, and I was just able to fuck off every day, all day, I might have got lost there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I call my wife, be like, yo, baby, I'm in Bangkok prison.
Right.
You will see me in 27 years.
Yeah. I can't explain it. I just got into some bad shit.
Everything's bad there.
Yeah.
Send me 48 million baht.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a mesmerizing place. It's great, but it's got its bad stuff too. You know, obviously.
Yeah.
It's got some weird shit happening over there, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, the whole sex trade shit is
dude.
fucking weird, man.
Dude, you have like those like there's like whole sex tourism
straight
travel
up.
agencies. And
Yeah.
shit,
I mean, it was full of like that's the only thing that bugged me there was like I saw tons of and I know I'm regurgitating stuff that I've said on previous podcasts and stuff, but there were like tons of like old fat white guys from like England, Australia, not too many Americans at all, but mostly like British and Aussie fat white dudes walking around with girls that were of questionable age.
Yeah.
Girls that like you look at them and you're like, yeah, this girl could be 22 or she could be fucking 14. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's weird, man. It's strange.
Dark.
You know, at one point we were at this one bar. It was like one of the first nights I was there. And we were partying. This one girl who looked like she was about 17 years old. It was the same scenario, big fat white guy. She comes over and starts hanging out with us, and she's partying. We're all partying, and she's like, "Yeah, I take care of fat white guy all weekend." And I looked at my friend Brett, and I was like, "Dude, am I in a fucking 2 Live Crew video right now? What the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? Like
The extras for Full Metal Jacket.
I was like, what is happening right now? Like it was just bananas, dude.
Yeah.
But some of the nicest people.
Yeah,
Just, you know,
I
super
bet.
cool. Where'd you go in South Asia?
Went to Pakistan
Oh,
before
yeah?
9/11. Yeah.
Oh.
And that was an interesting experience because, I mean, you know, it's like it was an international music festival, and I was playing with that band Defunct, guy Joe Bowie.
Yeah.
Famous, like, New York downtown scene.
You were playing with them a lot, like around the time I moved here a lot. You were.
That's when I
You
was
had that
playing.
gig
It was
for
like
a long time.
not that long, but I mean, on and off.
Musician, long time.
Yeah. On and off for, you know, around like 3 or 4 years. And I still keep in touch with Joe. But anyway, he's got artistic registration or whatever with the National Endowment for the Arts.
Okay.
Defunct got chosen to become, you know, cultural ambassadors for this Sufi soul music festival.
Oh, wow.
That's
So
cool.
a family of 4 Sufi brothers. Well, the main brother who started the festival is Sufi. And one of the other brothers, like their whole family's crazy interesting. Like one of the other brothers who I hung out the most, I think he was the youngest. He had gone to school and lived in England and actually worked on the set of 2001 with Kubrick.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so he had a lot of great stories, but
What was the band you were with?
Defunct.
I'm not familiar with that.
Kind of like avant-garde music mixed with funk and jazz. Like Joe Bowie is a trombone player, but he was also lead singer of the band.
Okay.
And they were really like a big deal in the late 70s, early 80s, like no wave scene. They had a couple of opportunities to actually really blow up, but for multiple reasons, kind of blown opportunities, which is unfortunate.
Implosion.
Yeah. It happens. Cheers.
Cheers.
Is this the
Cheerios.
Diplomatico?
Good to have you here, man. I'm psyched.
Yeah, man.
Hey, thanks
I miss
for
you,
having
dude.
me.
It's been a
I
minute.
miss you too. I know.
I haven't seen you since like last summer.
I know, since the last barbecue at
Yeah,
your place. We're
yeah.
still trying to set something up at our place. It's
Yeah,
just like
you said that then.
yeah, that's
You
what
were
I'm
like,
saying.
the
Like
next
for
one is
August.
at my house.
Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe August. Like kind of end of summer vibe.
Okay.
Because we're going through like just like a bunch of house stuff and
Yeah.
like trying to like get that stuff together. But yeah,
Let us know.
that's-
Give me like 2 weeks prior.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we're gonna do it, we'll know.
How's Ange?
She's good. She's, in the last stages of her PhD. So she's like collecting data for her, dissertation and stuff. Like, because, her study is all about, food justice and what can be done to like improve situations for where people are living in food deserts.
Yep.
Because it definitely doesn't have to be that way. But obviously there's a lot of
it can
politics and
be-
economics.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got to tell her I said hello. She hasn't been in for a while for a haircut.
She specifically told me to send her love and greetings to both you guys.
Awesome.
She was excited I was doing this.
Nice.
I don't know.
We'll see if she's just as happy when you get home.
I told you I still got to write charts tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah, for rehearsal tomorrow.
Yikes.
And we've taken down a few mighty men on the podcast.
Yeah.
One for me, one for the plan.
Believe it or not,
One for the-
believe it or not, this one, we're starting here. The last podcast was full.
Don't hurt me, fellas.
Well, that's all we
Well,
got,
yeah, that's
really.
all we got.
Oh, okay, great.
In this one,
Well, okay. Little guy.
the little guy. So Pakistan must have been pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, we were only in Lahore, and we were only there for 4 or 5 days. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, for one thing, it completely explained cab drivers in New York come
Okay.
from that region.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah?
chaos.
'Cause it's everybody there,
Like
like-
traffic is just barely controlled chaos. Like I
Right.
saw insane
Right.
guys on those like motorized 3-wheel rickshaws, like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
taking a corner
Oh,
real
they have
fast,
those
and they're
there,
up
too?
on 2 wheels. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
call them tuk-tuks in Thailand. So they probably, same shit there.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
they've
Yeah,
got
they
the-
hook them all up, too.
Yeah, exactly. They
hook
have
them
all the
up,
extra lights
speakers
and stuff.
yeah. It was really, really cool.
But it was also like seeing a lot of stuff that makes you realize like how good we have it in the West and
Yeah,
stuff.
dude.
Where like we're staying in a Best Western in Lahore, but you come outside and immediately there's like 4 beggar children.
Yeah.
Who are just coming up to you like pointing, out, like putting their hand out for money and
Yeah,
pointing
yeah.
at their mouth because they're starving. And of course, like as much as I possibly could, I helped them out. And then like 10 feet away from there is a dude who's selling shoes, just like as a street vendor. And he's got 2 tables set up with shoes. And you know what his personal security was for his shoe stand? An AK on his shoulder. Just
Whoa.
like, yep, this
I was
is
gonna
how
gu-
real
I was going to
things-
guess a machete.
No,
I was
no,
way
no.
off.
No. And he
guy's new school.
Dude, he had a double. He had a
means
double.
business.
Yo, this is how much he meant business. He had a double clip, like tape.
Oh,
so if one
shit.
ran out, he just flipped it over and popped the other one in.
Are people really trying to steal shoes?
Apparently,
Or shake them down?
I mean,
I mean, I'm sure there's
it's
some kind of shakedown going
Yo,
on.
shit is serious, huh? You gotta
Wild
have an
West
AK?
stuff, man. Like it's the third world. Like
Yeah,
you know?
no doubt. Yeah, we really do have it made, man. As bad as
As bad as things have
obviously
gotten,
we
yeah.
have bad shit here, but it doesn't even compare.
Yeah,
First
it's
world
not even
problems
close.
don't even compare.
Yeah.
to,
But it's a good reminder too. Like when you go to places like that, it's a good reminder for us to just see that and just kind of get a reminder of like,
100%.
oh, this is how most of the rest of the world
Yeah.
lives.
100%. Just even going to like Cape Verde and stuff, you see that shit. You're just like, damn, dude, people are fucking poor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it ain't.
Well, yeah, West Africa too. Like when I went there with Angelique a couple times, kind of same thing, just a different flavor. Yeah. But seeing people real poor, at least, you know, especially for a lot of places in Africa and Western Africa where colonial powers just exploited the countries.
Yeah, and then
even after they left, they're still continuing to exploit it through corporate interests and stuff.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Then.
Angelique told me something really deep and it stuck with me. She was like, so you see how people are poor here, right? But you notice nobody's starving. And you know why?
It's true.
Because they don't have, in Benin, where she's from, they don't have any natural resources. They don't have any oil. They don't have any diamonds. It's like an agrarian society, like, you know? So at least people may be poor, but they're not starving to death.
Yeah.
And there's not conflict because of resources.
That's pretty much how it is in Cape Verde, too. Nobody's starving to death.
Yeah.
You're not finding that. You know, nobody's dying of, like, hunger. Like, people are poor, they have less, but nobody's dying of hunger. Like, it was crazy. It was a wake-up call when I first went to my great-aunt's house there, my grandmother's sister. And the inside of her house was dirt floor.
Yeah.
But everything was clean and, like,
Totally
kept
together.
and put away, but the floor was dirt.
Right.
It was like literally somebody just built like a structure, kind of like a shanty, you know, like a multi-room shanty in a sense, on just like a plot. It's just on land, you know what I'm saying? So your inside floor is ground.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's like camping every day.
I guess, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
But man, even like, I mean, again, like, especially if you're talking about like the Western world, like specifically like North America or, you know, the US and Canada and England and Western Europe, man, the first time I went to Lithuania with my parents in 1998, which was the first time they had been back since they had to escape with my grandparents in the 40s after the war.
oh, wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, like we went to my mom's cousin's house, and the first heavy thing was finding out that I sort of had known this, but until I had met them, I hadn't completely like put it together in my head. They were part of her family that couldn't escape because the family was too big and there was too many people to try to run with. Man, they got sent to Siberia to a gulag, the whole family for like 30 years.
Oh,
30
Lord
years.
have mercy.
And then even when we were visiting them at their house, like this, you know, obviously like the fall of the Soviet Union and all that had happened quite a while before. I mean, less than 10 years, maybe like 8 years. But yeah, they had, you know, their farm and the house that they lived in and stuff, but still like no indoor plumbing.
Yeah, right.
They had an outhouse.
Yep.
Like for real. And that's just, hey, you know.
You shit outside.
It works. Yeah, it works. But, you know, that's what I mean. Like,
But it's really cold there.
Well, it can get.
Yeah.
So it's kind of really similar weather to here, like
Yeah.
hot, humid summers and, you know, cold winters.
Yeah. Where is Lithuania exactly?
Right next to Poland on the
Okay.
Baltic Sea. So it's like right across the Baltic Sea from Sweden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's to the east of Poland.
It probably has great weather.
It's really beautiful, but they do have like, you know,
There's like
the
proper
full
winter.
spectrum. Yeah,
Like
proper winter.
Like snow,
and-
heavy snow.
Yeah.
That makes sense
Stone
that
cold.
we ended up in
Milwaukee,
in Milwaukee.
right?
Oh,
right?
totally, man.
Well,
Like,
yeah, of course. I always wondered that. Like, why are there so many like Eastern European people in Milwaukee?
I always thought it was like just the way the countryside looked. Like if you're coming from it, they could do the same things and like you were saying, they could sustain in that area because they knew how to work land like that.
Yeah.
They knew how to like dig
It's interesting when you see communities develop by just like immigration communities, all like sticking together, you know, flocking together and like creating a new mini version of what they came
Right.
from. You know,
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing.
If you think about it, like if you were to move to another country, right? You're gonna go somewhere at least where you know you could put your feet down solid. You know?
in network.
And if it resembles somewhat of where you came from, at least there's a certain amount of
build off.
familiarity.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like you're not out. Just imagine like coming from like fucking Pakistan and being like, oh, I live in Kansas.
Yeah.
You're like-
Yeah. If there's nobody
that shit
like
happens.
Yeah,
But
that does
that's
happen.
well, it's a bigger culture shock for them because obviously Europeans were the primary, you know, settlers, and I think part of it too is the earlier settlers. Like that's why there's so many Germans and Scandinavians in like the whole northern Midwest where we're from, like Wisconsin, Minnesota. I think going earlier back, it was a bigger part because of those similarities of where they came from. But then later, like when my folks came over, a big part of it, and it also relates to like the migration of black folks from the deep south in Mississippi to Chicago, like how the blues spread because of the fact that during the war and post-war, those were in massive industrial centers.
Yeah, people
like
were following work.
Yeah, my
Right. Yeah,
my
exactly.
grandfather worked for 30 years for American Motors in Kenosha.
Yeah.
You know,
Isn't
when
it-
he got,
Yeah.
Nobody does that shit anymore, though. Nobody says like I worked this place for 30. You know what I'm
it
saying?
doesn't exist.
Yeah,
That's
like,
been
my
killed.
dad just retired from his the job he worked at, and he was there since he was 18, and he's 63.
Yeah. I mean, look,
It's a long fucking time, man, to work for a company.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about my grandfather, he, after coming to the U.S. with no previous experience in the automotive industry, gets a solid blue collar job, works for like 30 years, retires, has a great United Auto Workers pension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just could have a house and build a family and whatever.
The American dream, dude.
That's
what it is.
Man, starting with Reagan, 1980, that was the beginning of the end.
I know, it's crazy.
That's
when immigration, for example, like the whole wave of like Cape Verdean and Portuguese people moving to New England, they came for the manufacturing jobs. They came for the jewelry manufacturing jobs. That's what my dad's side worked on. And my mom's side worked in
Piracy.
In piracy. This is true.
Really?
This is true, yes. But this is true. But I'm specifically speaking of post-1970 in America. But yes.
They were swashbucklers. They came from swashbuckling.
It's a long line of swashbucklers.
Lots of scarves and flowy shirts and swords and high boots everywhere. High boots. There's always high boots.
High boots.
High
heels,
boots and fluffy shirts.
and mustaches.
What did the pirate say
And beards.
on his birthday? I am 18.
The 80-year-old pirate. But my mom's side, they came for the seamstress, manufacturing jobs, like making curtains, basically.
Right.
That was a huge industry in New England. Actually, just any kind of clothing, textile industry was enormous in New England.
Yeah, I remember that from living in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
like learning some of the history that it was like, huge like textile mills. And
Yep, textile mills, huge, enormous, dude. And that was hugely Portuguese and Cape Verdean. And then also you had the fishing industry.
Right.
Dating back to the whaling way back in the day, like in the 1800s, that was all us basically. But now specifically, it's just fishing, like just regular fishing industry is huge. In New Bedford, man, it's that is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like
That's my favorite fish is that North Atlantic cold water.
yeah, I have such an attraction to it. Like I think it's so cool. Would I want to go out there and work on a fishery? Hell no. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
a brutal job.
Fuck that.
That's
No.
a brutal job.
I don't want to smell like fucking fish every day. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that.
Well, and also
shit.
you're risking your life with every.
And you're risking your life, no doubt.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make sure I have 10 fingers for the rest
I
of my
look
life.
at those fucking boats, man, and I imagine those fucking guys out there doing that shit, and it's fucking cool, man. I instantly feel like a 5-year-old boy. Man, those guys are cool.
And
You
it's
know what I'm
respect,
saying?
though.
Hell
It's,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like super respect because I couldn't fuck around and do that shit.
That's the
but-
thing that's lost too, man. People are so disconnected, and especially with all these like bullshit food trends and fads and stuff. Whatever. It's like people don't really have that like connection of like
regional
yeah, like
food.
where's your food
and
coming
regional
from?
Food.
Like where
regional food.
Yeah.
Like local stuff. Yeah. Like I love the local thing.
Man, I'm so blessed with Angie's cooking and her dedication to food because she goes like clockwork every Saturday to our local farmers market, and it's remember when we were growing up, we're old enough where it was kind of
That's what we did.
worldwide thing. Yeah, like you'd only get strawberries when they were in season.
Sure, and you went to a farm
You
stand.
wouldn't get them in
You went to a
December.
farm stand.
Exactly. Or even at the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? You just wouldn't find like
We used
all the
to see-
time,
We used
yeah,
to
yeah.
have farm stands all over the place, like west of Milwaukee.
oh
and
yeah,
north
that's
and
like
stuff.
that was
There's
like the
farm-
strawberry
like, huge
fields and
farms.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to go with my grandfather all the time when I was a little kid. We'd go he'd go buy the corn.
Yeah.
Yep.
We used to,
You know
me and my
what I'm
mom used to
saying?
go picking strawberries at one of those farms where you could just go and just like do it by the bushel.
Yeah,
By the box and just like load up.
That's the dope shit, man.
But that's the thing,
Kids
like,
don't even know
eating-
nothing about that stuff.
We
no
had a
more.
guy in our neighborhood where I grew up. We lived on 42nd Street, and there was 43rd behind it. And his property was like from block to block. So he had this gigantic garden. And this dude would like harvest and just walk around to people in the neighborhood and drop off bushels of food.
Yeah, sweet.
Tons of shit.
It just makes such a difference, and it makes wasting way less resources from importing stuff from South America or wherever when it's off season. It makes you appreciate that food so much more. Like when strawberries are in season now, I'm psyched, And then
Yeah.
like I wait till next year.
Yeah, right.
Or,
the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
For
and-
us.
yeah.
Regionally.
Exactly.
I love the regional importance.
But even stuff that's grown like where they can technically grow it outdoors year round, it just doesn't taste the same.
Right.
You know.
You need the temperature. And
Yeah, all the
stuff.
factors,
Soil
yeah.
changes. It gets richer in the more humid climate.
Right.
It needs time.
This farm's been here for 30 years, you know.
Yeah.
There's definitely some magic in the soil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm psyched. I've been in the same boat as you. Claudia goes to all the food co-ops. She does one here when she's in town for work. She'll go to one here and like be part of that and put in time working it and then bring stuff back in a cooler and shit. She's wild style with it. You know what I'm saying? And then, goes to farmers markets out there and mixes it up. And we're getting stuff from the stuff here at the food co-op. They're bringing stuff from like upstate and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, if we had a better like co-op like that in our neighborhood, we would probably do that. But I mean, the farmers
There's one
market
right here. I know it's a little bit of a distance for you, but there's one right down the street, like literally like a stone's throw from me.
Oh, I think
that's the one she goes to.
Right. Oh, really? And it's good. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got to check that out. I mean, for Angie, just works out with the farmers market where it's like the prices are great, quality of everything is great, and it totally fits with her schedule where she can just go knock it out in the morning every Saturday morning and it's done. Okay. She plans everything because, also for her, cooking is her hobby.
Yeah.
So it's great. She gets super into it. And I'm just like, all right, whatever you need. Like,
I wish I liked cooking that much. I don't. I have a couple things that I'm starting to get into now, but I'm not really a cooker.
I was like cooking and I would try to do it as much as possible when I was single. But the reality is it's really hard unless you're super militant about it and really planned out every week and, you're like OCD about like planning your eating, which especially in our world, like with what we do, it's not really, that's not really practical. And
I'm OCD about the mess.
Well, that too. It just takes time.
Get a slow cooker, man.
Yeah, like I just never.
I don't have the patience though, because I'm like, if I'm gonna make something,
You're
I
going
want it
into
now.
it knowing it's a slow cooker.
I know that's the thing. I can't cook not hungry.
See, but that's the beauty of the
I
slow
can't get over
cooker,
that
though.
part yet.
Like, Sundays I get up,
it's a real ahead of time kind of
but
mentality.
sometimes you can just throw a bunch of stuff in and turn it on, and you're just like,
Yeah, you need to give me some slow cooking recipes.
yeah, dude.
Wait, I like this sound.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
All right,
Gintas
right
is
on.
having a pot party over on that end of the table.
It's a pot party.
That's a huge joint, Gint. Damn, you got two of them?
Man, you
What
gotta
are you
burn the place
talking
down.
about? Joking.
No, that's the beauty. The slow cooker, though, don't sleep on it. Like,
Yeah, I got to get into it. Yeah, I hate the mess though, man. I'm telling you, that's why I can't get over it. I hate the mess. When I do something in the kitchen, it looks like nothing happened.
you got to dish as you go.
As I do everything.
Yeah, I'm like that
It's-
too.
Picked up trash, remnants in the trash.
Right.
Like nothing is left there. I don't do the cleanup at the end. It literally at the end is like nothing.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
do it
kind of
the
that
whole
way
time.
too. Like,
you know, when you finish cooking, the last thing you're going to cook is going to be a pot or a pan,
Yeah,
and you're like,
and I
I want
wanna
a clean
do-
sink
yeah,
to just
exactly.
do this big fucking.
yeah.
But because we just acknowledge how much work that takes, that's why I can't do it all the time.
yeah. No, fair enough.
Because
Man.
I can only do it that way. She does all the cooking, which is great, but then I do all the cleanup.
Yeah.
So that's the trade-off.
Well,
I don't have to do
that's
any of the
where Angie
cooking.
would mess me
I
up.
just clean.
Angie would like cook some amazing meal, but she was just like running like a professional chef, and just like bowls are flying everywhere. And by the end of it, it's just like, oh my god, what the hell?
Yeah,
happened
it's a
to the
huge mess,
kitchen?
right?
Yeah.
Because they're wrapped up in the cooking.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it
But
takes.
also, we need a dishwasher bad. I gotta hook that up. I can't believe we've lived
Dishwasher's
this
the
long.
life.
Oh god, I've got to do it. I gotta do it.
You don't got a
You
dishwasher.
need a dishwasher and a George washing machine.
That's what my grandmother used to say that all the time.
Really?
George washing machine.
The George washing machine bridge.
George washing machine.
My cousin, who's a doctor, when he was doing his residency, like all doctors, like you have to do emergency room rotations.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me this story. It's kind of dark, but it is funny.
Tell me.
I think it was Rush St. Luke's in Chicago, which is like big hospital, like downtown. And they'd get everything from gunshot wounds to just like normal accidents to, heart attacks and medical emergencies. And so he's doing a 36-hour shift. And middle of the night, there's this old guy that's like sitting in a seat along the wall in the hallway. and he's just rocking back and forth, and he's got a big smile on his face, and like nobody else is around. So my cousin's like goes up to him, he's like, "Excuse me, sir, have someone seen you?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I saw the doctor." And he's like, "Is everything okay?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he said I had the smiling mighty Jesus."
What?
And my cousin's like, "The smiling mighty Jesus?" So he goes to like the head nurse or what the other doctor that had seen him, whatever, and they said that he had spinal meningitis.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean it's dark, but you gotta admit it's a little funny.
Oh my
God bless. I hope he's all right.
Smiling mighty
The
Jesus.
smiling mighty Jesus.
Pepsi
So that was just
marijuana.
my related story to the George washing machine.
A lot darker.
So I know sometimes I have a tendency to do that. I got that streak in me. I don't mean to hurt people, but sometimes it happens.
Sometimes it happens.
Sometimes.
Should name your firstborn kid that. Smiling mighty Jesus Janusonis.
Yes, continue the torture indefinitely.
That kid is going to be a monster of a fighter.
Oh man,
He's going to be like...
I just couldn't even torture my kid with, I mean, I'm proud of my background and, I'm cool with my name myself, but to this day, it is still a pain in the ass.
Yeah? It's pretty-
even
It's so easy to pronounce your name.
Right, because you give a shit and try. Like, so many people just
How do
don't.
people mispronounce
Man,
your name?
I mean, if you look at my last name, Janusonis, it's
Oh, you're
so
talking about your
phonetic.
last name. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no, even my first name. Like,
Really?
Gintas, Qantas, Ginnas, like... Yeah.
out, man.
Oh, yeah, trust me.
Out of here.
Dude, there ain't one I haven't heard. I guarantee you. I
Gintas
knew it.
maybe because George could be with a G.
Yeah,
so-
yeah,
so
but I mean that was.
maybe.
But I mean I like Gruntus.
Get the fuck out of here. Now
Well,
you're
that was
fucking
just
around.
more of like kids, fucking with me in school. That one, but but like the legit ones were just people are just like they just
They
see
just don't
something that they
know.
don't recognize and they check out immediately.
Yeah, it's true.
They don't even
Isn't that
bother, like-
weird? That's really strange, right?
I think a lot of people are just stupid.
Yeah.
They don't, just don't
I-
try. Like
I hear people in restaurants all the time ordering shit through a menu, and I'm like,
yeah.
you're not even trying. Like,
I heard like 8 different incarnations of my last name last week.
yeah, that's true.
Oh, I'm sure you've
dying,
got a
dude.
similar hell with your
mine-
last
I was
name.
dying the whole
Yeah,
time.
mine,
hearing
I'm
that
just
shit.
like, dude, it's fucking so easy. It's like, just say this as the first word. Don't
Yeah.
even look at it. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you phonetically what to say.
Well, the problem is, like,
Then
most
say this
Americans
and
are
this.
not good with, like, 2 consonants next to each other unless they're, like, CH
right.
or SH, They just see a S and a Z and they freak the fuck out.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look at me.
Yeah.
Brett's last name, too. I've heard
Yeah.
that thing get destroyed.
Yeah. Names that are just like pronounced phonetically, man. That's how all of Creole is sounding. It's all phonetic. It's phonetic.
Right.
language.
Yeah, if you look
So
at
for
it,
me,
you
it's
bother
super
to
easy. It's like,
sound
I'm
it out. Yeah, if you just look at it and sound it out.
that's it.
Yeah.
You got it if you just sound that shit out. Yeah, I feel like when I read Russian, I feel like I can speak it.
You can read it? You can read Cyrillic?
No, that's not what I meant. Not read it. When I hear people talking,
Russian?
yeah, when I hear it, I'm like, I feel like I could learn that language.
Oh, you know why? So funny that you would say that. So before the first time I ever went to Portugal, I'd only heard Brazilian Portuguese.
Oh yeah, it's
Right?
totally different.
Yo,
The
when
accent,
the
it's
first
the
time I
same
went to
language,
Portugal,
but the accent is different.
But when I went to Portugal the first time, it freaked me out. I was like, are there a bunch of people speaking Russian
Yeah,
around me?
isn't it weird? And old Russian women
sounds
remind me of
so-
old Portuguese ladies.
Yo, it's dude. I'm not surprised that you feel
It's
like you
the,
could
like-
learn it because the sound
Yeah.
is. I mean, it's so similar. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it sounds like a Russian version of Spanish.
Yeah, but I mean, it really
That's
like
what it sounds like.
in my head instinctually, without thinking about it, just hearing it. It just rang bells in my head, going like, "That sounds like Russian." Why
Yeah.
do I hear all these people speaking
Yeah.
Russian? I'm like, no,
Okay.
that's actually Portuguese.
I'm telling you, when I watch that show, The Americans, and I love it when they go into parts where they're speaking Russian. I'm always like, I could fucking learn that language, man.
Right.
I could learn that shit. I don't know. I need to learn how to speak Russian.
Do it, man.
Or maybe not.
The
I'm going to be.
Cyrillic alphabet. That's like the hard one, just in terms of reading.
Yeah.
Oh
a
yeah,
totally
yeah.
different
No, the way it
alphabet
looks
and-
is crazy.
Yeah.
Just start speaking with a Russian accent and just tell people you speak Russian.
Yeah,
Like, I speak Russian.
that's not going to be weird at all.
Spasibo.
Oh man.
Yeah, languages are awesome, but also really weird. It's just really.
I love it.
I do too. It's fascinating to me, and even with certain languages that I don't speak, but just, have had exposure to a lot. Like, I love when I'm just in places like, again, like New York, because it's so multicultural, where you hear someone speaking something that's just like, I think I've gotten to the point where I can tell the difference between a Danish person, a Swedish person, and a Norwegian with Scandinavian, because I've heard the difference, and I've been, you know what I mean? Like,
those I'm lost on. I don't know any of those.
they're all basically the same language with tweaks. They're almost like just dialects between the three different
But
countries.
I can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
all
it's
sounds
just
the
an
same.
accent thing.
Right.
The accent's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
familiar
it
with it
changes.
too much.
But that, I mean, just like as one example, or like, again, the difference between Brazilian Portuguese and, standard Portuguese.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same language. It
Yeah.
just has a completely different accent.
Yeah.
That's it. And then obviously they have some slang.
Yeah. But do they, but like, when you're in school in Portugal, let's say, like there is like a standard form regardless of dialects from different
You
parts of the
speak
country or something.
Portuguese from Portugal.
Well, no, but I even mean within Portugal. Like, are there different, like, really different dialects if you're in different regions of Portugal?
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Not dialects. Accents.
Accent. Okay. Yeah, like with Angie being from Germany, they have like straight up dialects where there are like words that are not the same.
Yeah.
So
that's
if
crazy.
people are like super towny from like one region and they talk to somebody else from like a polar opposite region, they really have a hard time figuring out what each other is saying.
Right.
Say you take somebody from, like, there's places in Maine that you hear some accents and you're like, how does that thing even sustain?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you put them against somebody like Justin Wilson, that cook.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
those old, like 403.
I
like,
guarantee.
Yeah, him.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Somebody
the Creole
super,
cook?
like Cajun guy.
Yeah.
So it's like this guy from Maine is talking to this Cajun
Yeah, that's
guy.
crazy,
They're gonna
right?
be
Compared
like,
to how we talk.
holy
Yeah.
fuck, what the fuck
Oh
is
man,
going
there
on
are
here?
so many times like when I've been down south, like when the Revelations, we were doing all these shows like in Mississippi and Tennessee and Arkansas and stuff. There were times where, part of it was because sometimes people would be trashed, but also just with like the local accent, we started feeling like assholes because we just kept being like, what? Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Wait, who? Your cousin? Like, and we just started feeling like dicks, because like we literally were like, pass time, man. The fuck did you just say? Like,
It's like singing, man.
Whole different
crazy.
accent.
yeah.
Yeah. You guys recorded at Willie Mitchell's place?
Yeah, Royal. Yeah, man, I'm really grateful for.
I remember seeing some of those pictures. You had that old snare going.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like, some of the old mic setup, like that Al Green shit.
Yeah, well, luckily we got to record 2 separate Revelations records there. And then I also produced a project down there from a couple of guys from Adrian Young's band who have their own thing that was called Star Killer. Unfortunately, that project never got released. That was supposed to be released on the label that RZA and our ex-manager had started together called Soul Temple.
Okay.
So there's just like, it's one of those stories where just like all the wrong things happen and shit fell apart. But it was great to be able to produce something down there and work with Boo Mitchell in that capacity.
How was what was his involvement in the session? Was he like
He just
was
knows
he like
that
throwing ideas and feels and just be like, that's the
he's got such a great temperament and he's got really good instincts about how to deal with people. First of all, everybody down there is so awesome. Like from the whole Mitchell family and all of the people associated with the studio and all the session cats from down there who are like heavyweights. Like I've recorded like 4 times with Lester Snell, who's like Isaac Hayes' pianist, and Bobby Manuel, the Isaac Hayes' guitar player. And
just so people know, like Willie Mitchell produced Al Green.
All the classic Al Green stuff, all of the High Records catalog. So you got Mavis Staples, I Can't Stand the Rain.
That stuff.
Not Mavis Staples. What am I saying?
Was coming out from like down in that area, like that wasn't Stax. It was like
right. Well, they had some overlap, but yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Like High was like the other.
This studio was just as important.
Man, I'm so embarrassed that I can't think of her name right now. I Can't Stand the Rain.
Bonnie Raitt.
No. Ann Peebles.
Ann Peebles.
yeah, just amazing to be in that place and the history of it. And I mean, we basically recorded a lot of the stuff with pretty much all of Al's rhythm section.
Wow.
Except for like our guitar player Wes playing guitar, me playing drums. But we had like Charles Hodges on organ. The first day we went to the studio, we walk in and he's on the organ that he recorded Let's Stay Together with, and he's warming up playing Let's Stay Together. And me and Wes just standing there like, what? It was amazing.
Yeah, to walk into that, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's total mojo about that place. It's not like some $1 million complex, you know, where everything's acoustically perfect. There's like, I mean, it's an old theater from the 20s with a janky sloping concrete floor, and there's insulation from the 70s that's just hanging out between beams up top. But, you know, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know.
If it's got a sound, you just leave it alone.
Oh, they definitely have a sound.
Yeah. You can plug into all the energy that whatever happened in that place prior, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, again, to Boo's credit, even when he's just engineering, if he really hears something, you know, and he knows, like, how things are coming across, you know, if there's an issue or something and he feels like he knows, you know, what might be a good solution, he never butts in, but he knows exactly when to say something. Yeah. Which is great, you know.
I've watched Wharton in sessions and just like, he leans over the board, has hands behind his back, and he doesn't look like he's thinking. He's listening, you know. And
yeah,
that's one of the signs of like a good producer is when they don't have that thinking look on their face. They're just like listening.
Trying to,
you know?
they're just trying to see what's actually going on.
Yeah, what's going on? What are the pieces here?
Yeah, you know, there's that old school kind of stereotype of producers that are like super proactive and they're like micromanaging every last aspect. And I think that's, you know, the best producers and all the cats that we grew up, you know, admiring and you know, being influenced by or whatever. I think all of them, and like Laswell is like this, with Bill Laswell, with my experience working with him is like that. It's just get out of the way, just guide people to do what they're doing the best.
Get the best out of
Get the best out of them for what they're doing, but don't try to control it, you know. And I think that really makes the most sense, and it just keeps things feeling alive.
Yeah.
You know.
You got to let people express it, man.
If you're producing it, your job initially should just be to just listen to it like that and just see what is going on and like how much producing does this actually need, you know? So it's like, okay, like make sure time and tempo and feel is there and shit. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it's the same job. It's just a different perspective of, you know.
Wharton was the same way. He would be like, he wasn't an interrupter.
Right.
You know, those people you want to choke.
Yeah.
Because you're like, dude, like the reason I'm not getting it right now is because I haven't played for 45 solid seconds yet, and you're already like jumping down the throat. You know?
Well, and usually you can tell those people too are the ones that you can tell that they either don't have experience or they have some real big ass blind spots. Yeah. You know.
Right.
But you know, there are control freaks.
It's a good thing to kind of go through because you realize, holy shit, like that didn't really work for me. Or like that might work, you know, like you learn when to turn it on, when to turn it off, or if it even works for you.
I mean, it's also a really subtle thing, I think, sometimes too, where it's not necessarily like the, you know, the extremes of like hyper over controlling guy or just kind of loose, casually guiding things and just making sure everything is happening in the right way. You know, I've learned through my own experience with working on things where there were times where I didn't think I was micromanaging something, but in retrospect, I kind of was.
Oh, yeah. I'm completely guilty of that.
Yeah. I mean, we all go through that at some point. Just you gain experience.
It's kind of like something you got to go through.
Exactly.
A little bit because you're like, that's not a good way to work.
Yeah.
Because you kind of think, like when you first start getting some momentum as a musician or as a, you know, like all that stuff, producing and like that, you think it's a lot of how music is. You're like, okay, this is how I've seen it done, so maybe this works. So let's try it, you know.
Right. But also too, because I mean, just the age that we came up in as musicians, and with technology that expanded as we've gotten older. I mean, man, we got options now, and even when we were coming up, that like the generation or two before us, like if you didn't have access to a proper recording studio, like you couldn't really self-produce something. You know.
Yeah, you couldn't even record anything. You know, it was like,
I mean, you could do it at a rudimentary. Yeah.
But not very quickly. Like the speed now is crazy. Like you could literally just record yourself with your phone.
Oh yeah.
Press record, boom, and here's an idea.
Yeah.
I'll remember this tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like touch of a button.
So like I have like guitar or bass player friends or even keyboard player friends where they have like these virtual racks that can be on an iPad, and they just have a good interface, like with a really good DI.
Yeah.
And they show up at sessions and they've got just all these amp models that they have pre-programmed in there that they tweaked everything. They're like, oh, you need this kind of sound? Boom. That's the thing. We're reaching the digital tipping point where like you're not going to be able to tell the difference, or it's not even going to be worth the difference, you know, to have to maintain like these hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of analog gear, you know?
Nobody cares anymore to hear anything like that. It's going to be like museum shit.
Listen, if it works, it's great. It's just, you know, that's what happens with technology. It's just passage of time. You can't, you know.
Well, it's going to go through a phase of where it gets phazed out.
Yeah.
And then all the ones that are preserved and...
Oh, that's already happening. They are like...
Sure, but it's going to go through a phase like everything. It's the same thing with cars. Like, they'll dip down and be like, it's not that, whatever. And then you can kind of like people start buying up the surplus because it's not really worth that much. So people flip the shit.
Right.
People that really are going to go on the second rim of it.
Right.
Then they'll have all the pieces that are worth, like, now it's worth a lot more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you have that kind of aspect of it, but then you also have this other thing with studio gear where some of it is like the stuff that is available in whatever so-called surplus is already like crazy overvalued.
Yeah.
So, and it's the fact that a lot of the digital emulations of stuff, if it comes even within like the 97th percentile of it, you know, like suddenly you can have 10 instances of a $30,000 Fairchild limiter on your mix, where otherwise, like,
you could
it would
never
cost you 30 grand to just
have
buy
one
that thing and have it over one track. And
one
like,
channel.
Oh shit!
like
I can put
pieces,
this on.
man.
Yeah. Well, and also, because like a lot of the parts for those things are no longer produced. It's old technology, so that becomes more expensive. Like, you know, there's definitely guys that like older cats of like, you know, generation before us or even two before us that I've met where they own like big studios with like big amounts of gear, but they were like, if I didn't know how to fix all of this myself,
you could have it.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Maintaining that is like a fucking car. Dude.
Yeah. You know what? Like really cool amps are going to become furniture.
No, I don't ever see really cool amps getting.
Yeah, I agree.
phased out. I
But for a studio to have that, then it's kind of like a showpiece. Then it's like,
not necessarily. Like there's a lot more value in the individual character of like an analog amp.
Yes, I know this.
Right.
But
sorry, I wasn't implying that you didn't.
But in the future,
bam.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know,
there a couple of great guitar players that I've been working with, and they both use sometimes they'll go out on a tour with their pedal board and then have backline amps.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times where there are these like really high end amp modeling systems. Yeah, where again they like get their sounds dialed and everything, and then they just request a PA speaker. And they run that. That's right. You know, everything is just straight
no
through
amps
there.
on stage and
You just have you just have your own monitor that's specifically for. It acts as the guitar.
I don't see any. Yeah, I would totally do that.
Yeah,
totally. I mean,
and his shit sounds great.
If you're doing a live venue and that kind of thing, it's like the less connections there, the cleaner the sound is going to be that much more
and less problems,
easier to control. Yeah, less
big time.
problems. But you get into a studio and you like play that same jam that you're playing on stage, and it's like that sound is perfect at the stage, and you hit that with like through your fucking amp.
Yeah, of course.
That's when you realize that like it's not like some magic dust that it's like it's just circuitry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the only thing I would
to pass through that whole thing.
Right.
I have pieces of gear that I just bypass. Like I'll send a final mix to it and I bypass it, but like
just the fact that it's
it's running through the fucking circuitry,
absolutely,
and the air, not just the circuitry, the air in that room is affecting the recording.
Well, that's the really interesting thing that you bring up because with talking about like let's say a regular analog tube amp versus these amp modelers is the one kind of visceral thing that you notice a difference of, like just a feeling is. When you have like a dope Fender Twin that's really cranking, like you feel it. You feel that air moving, and you just don't quite feel the shit the same way physically when you're in proximity to it when you have like the modeler and that. But I'm sure at some point it's probably just like if you've got a matching cabinet that could kind of move at the same amount of air, you could do it. Right. But that's definitely like what I
have you
felt,
seen
when I heard it.
Have you seen those like sub pack things? Where
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
You can feel the bass, like even though you're like,
They have those on
you're
drum
playing, like an
thrones.
electric kit, and it's like when you sit behind a kit, and you know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
When you sit there and play, and then when you go play like an electric kit, you're like, where's the sound coming from? Like,
Yeah.
I can't,
You feel totally disconnected.
I can't control
It's
this
weird.
by how hard I hit it and where I hit it and all that stuff. You're just like,
Yeah.
They make
Try to make it more
there's a
realistic.
yeah.
But even that though, it's like drums are drum. Like,
Yeah.
When you play them, you're like you gotta sit behind them. I understand convenience and stuff like that. Like that's, I mean
that's
shit too.
but that's why even
like-
like if I use in-ears on a stage, I still want to have a wedge too.
Yeah,
Because
just
again,
to
it's feeling.
feel that
Yeah,
fucking
you
kick,
feel that
like-
unless you. I mean, they do make these like drum thrones where they put a speaker transducer in the seat, so you hook in the line, and it's basically I think they call it a rumble seat. So that you so if you have in-ears in, which are usually lacking in bass, the bass frequencies are you're feeling it in your ass. Yeah.
Whoa.
So what if the guy who designs the frequency on that thing decides to go crazy one day and it's like 15 hertz and you're just like, I think we should use the 28-inch kick drum tonight. You just hit that first one.
That must be crazy.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Takes a
I
bit
only
to get
tried
used
it
to, right?
once.
Like,
I tried it once and it was really weird. Like, because you're just like,
Does it like hit you in your butthole or something?
I mean,
so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting on a seat.
it's all connected.
like,
I mean,
you know.
it's it takes. I think it takes a second to get used to. I never had it
You're like,
myself.
what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yo,
It's just
this
like,
fucking
I'm not
whoa,
into this.
hey.
You got me a sex chair, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Get this shit out of here. I'm playing standing up tonight.
sex chair. Sex drum throne. That's funny.
That's horrible.
It's
That's
like a
what that thing
vibrating
sounds-
drum throne. What the fuck?
Like you only hit the kick on the certain like just when it goes from first to chorus, your whole shit's like Hey, Git's gone like 24 bars without hitting the kick. You're like, I'm only getting ass fucked like 4 times during this song.
Oh my god.
We're doing a 3-hour set, man. Just putting some mileage on the chassis. The booty throne.
Booty throne. That's
But
hilarious.
I mean, it feels freaking
fuck.
weird, like because it's still disconnected. Like
imagine.
even if you have like in-ears in and then you like hit a bass drum and then it just mainly shakes your ass, it's still like not natural. Like
No.
it's not what happens when I acoustically
That's
hit
not
a
what
kick
happens
drum.
when I joined the band. Nobody told me.
But yeah, you feel that kick drum like in your gut and chest. Like you feel it around there. So if it's coming up from you, you're kind of like, what the fuck is it? Like,
I mean, I think that
Right,
the
right.
concept is like it's supposed to be like vibrating your whole body, but you mainly feel it in your ass.
I just got pounded in the ass.
I think monies could have been better allocated towards a studio monitor by your side.
Just get the guy a
Hey,
bigger speaker.
to each his own. Some guys love it. They love it. Can I get a bathroom break?
Yeah. No.
No, you have to sit
here.
down on the drum
No.
throne.
You have to hold your
Discuss
feet.
Tolstoy.
You know what I mean?
But that's great, man. That's like how you get good results. Like I remember reading an interview with Omar Hakim when he first got the Weather Report gig. He said that like when he first got the gig, it's like a real heavyweight music gig, and he gets flown out to LA because they're rehearsing at Joe Zawinul's house, the band leader, and they're gonna start a 6-week mega tour, and this music is complicated with a lot of stuff. And he said they would play for like an hour, and then Joe Zawinul and Wayne Shorter would be like, let's go outside and hang out by the pool. And they would like hang out and
that's
be
what's
eating
up,
lunch
man.
and stuff. And Omar would be like looking at his watch like, there's a lot of material to cover. And they're like, we'll get it. Don't worry. And it was because they wanted to cultivate the interpersonal
That's
hang.
right, yeah.
And actually
You
create
need
a
to become
band.
one organism.
And they knew that like anybody that they were gonna hire for that band was gonna be such a great musician that they weren't worrying about the details or them learning the music. It was just more about cultivating the vibe.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Round 2.
I mean, it's crazy. There's nothing like it. Whenever we've played and stuff live, I feel like I just get plugged in, man.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if it's a rehearsal or on. It's the same feeling the whole time, man. I mean, obviously more live. You move around a lot more, but the same feeling inside. I feel the same thing I feel on stage.
But that's great because I mean that's the whole thing. It's like no matter whether you're rehearsing or playing, you're putting the same intent behind it. But obviously the difference is like when you're live, like you have adrenaline going, you have like response from an audience, and that pumps stuff up. But it's like the fact that regardless, it's like the old saying, it shouldn't matter like how you play, whether it's in front of 5 people or 50,000.
Yeah.
You either do it or you don't. Yeah. Like, don't fuck around.
Yeah. But I guess what I meant to say was, like, when we would rehearse, right? Like, all those years at the Kennel, when we did our rehearsals there weekly, that was literally a 4-person party.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what we did.
Right.
4-person party. We did this all the time, and it was the same 4 people doing the party. And it became the same thing, like, on the road with the same 4 people. That's why it worked. It was like, what I was trying to say was, sorry, I'm high as fuck right now. But what I'm trying to say.
The first car is off the rails.
I literally had just as much fun having a 4-person party as I did playing it live in front of people.
Sure.
It was the same amount of fun. That's what I meant to say.
Sure.
For me. It felt the same amount of fun.
We studied for the test drunk and we took the test drunk.
That's not exactly what I meant. But,
that's
another
how
perspective
it was.
on the same issue.
It definitely is another perspective on it, but not the perspective I was talking from.
I know what you're saying. Like, there was nights up there, even at your studio and up at, the old shop where it was like, we'd get there, smoke something, maybe drink a little something, like, and then it was like, I don't really feel like doing this. And we're like, okay, let's do something else. And
exactly.
Let's just drink. And listen to music and
exactly. That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
It all led to I forgot we did this tune. How come we were kind of refined this? And then,
you start going through the catalog and you're like, because especially if you're that, if you're that productive and you're creating that many like ideas on a regular, because you are constantly hanging out and it's that easy to hang out and do it, you're creating a lot of content, man. Content that you can't even keep up with, man.
Sure,
like,
because with the flow is going,
we'd have to dedicate this was our lives, 24 hours a day. We got together every day and went over the content that we created yesterday and cleaned it up and constantly.
Yeah,
we're like, we have years of doing that.
Just constant
we lost so many good things, and I don't even give a fuck because we have so many more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like ideas. But that's the thing. They're all ideas. We need to release a record of ideas.
Right.
But it goes to show you, like, when like some artists or bands like get lucky and get a great deal or just get like popular and there's just money and support being thrown at them.
Yeah.
Like that's what you can accomplish when obviously the
like
baseline
machine,
thing has
man.
to be there. Like you have to be a talented artist or a band that is producing something good.
Well, that's a given.
But once exactly. That's got to be the given. That's got to be the baseline.
You can't even be doing this unless you can do that. So,
but then after that,
including all the other crap.
but then after that, it's all about the support. It's like there have been projects I've been on where there was like obviously like a lot of support and funding behind it, and it was just like, that's how shit gets done. Because everything is just like, this needs to happen, bam, it happens. This needs to happen, bam, this happens.
Efficiency.
But just like
and not limitations. Like
and no limitations.
I mean, not no limitation, but
no
severely
limitations.
reduced. Like
The goal would be no limitations.
Yeah.
And then it's just free ride, straight ahead. But you're right. Hanging out and just like listening to stuff. It was cool to pull stuff out of the vault and be like, holy shit. Then you'd have a moment because you'd be hanging out like, oh man, this is crazy, man. Do you remember doing this shit? I remember doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I found that it's harder for me to mix a song that there was a vibe in than there was just like a straight come in, play your parts. We're going to grab loops and just piece this together kind of thing. That's easy because you're kind of putting together some like stock footage you've created.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you're making something out of A roll and B roll.
Right.
When there's vibe and you're mixing the song and that shit's in your head, you're like, man, how can I make that come across? Like, not What's Going On, but the other Marvin Gaye album. With, it's got the red cover, him with the hat on. Let's Get It On. Is that?
Oh
the name of the
yeah.
album? That's
Let's
the
Get It
name.
On. Yes, Let's Get It On. You're right.
He had like
Yeah.
crazy, like people in and out of the studio all the time, like people hanging out in the live room while they're cutting shit live, and like
Yeah.
30 people. And
Yeah.
shit. That vibe is on that record,
Yeah.
man. Like you listen to like Let's Get It On, you can picture like 10 people dancing in front of him while the band was playing that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like have that image in your head and be like, God
Yeah.
damn, how do I mix this to make this sound
But it's interesting
Yeah,
that
like it came off, you know?
But it's interesting because like if it came off that way in the performance, you're like, I feel like I need to do more. But that you actually don't.
I know what you're saying. Like, yeah, as like an engineer, you have compartments that you're like, okay, I'm gonna mix this tune, and I go to that
Default.
I know what you're saying.
I meant like more to like what you were even describing, where you were saying like where there's stuff where it's like you're arranging like what would be the equivalent of like audio stock footage. So like you feel like you know that you have to do more to create the whole. So is that what? Because I'm just like
Well,
I'm
that-
curious because
for-
it's a very interesting perspective to me.
When there's the vibe, it's like you're in the vibe at the time, and you remember how it sounded to you while that shit was going down, which alters your perspective
Yeah,
on the sound
right.
of the music because you're like,
You heard it one way.
it could be okay, like it could be an okay take. For some reason, it's just you're like, damn, I'm feeling that, and then the next take the band does is like the one,
Yeah.
and then you're
Right.
like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So like you remember how you felt when you first heard it,
Yeah.
and
It's
then
hard to
mixing
shake
it,
that.
it's like take me back to there.
Right, because you don't
You
have
know?
the same perspective of like that
Yeah.
fresh the first time it hit you, where you get the most impact from it, where you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, this is hitting me in a certain way. Because yeah, I know what you mean. Like then you go back
How do
to
you bring that out in a
right,
mix?
because when you come back to mixing, like even though you had that feeling and like all that same material is there, you've already had this like distance of time.
Right, you're
and-
separated from it a
Yeah,
little bit,
yeah,
right.
I got you. Yeah, I was just no, it's a really interesting perspective. I kind of feel like too, where it's like when I'm recording myself or like producing something, you know, I mean, I've always tried to, as best my ability, get like sounds down in the computer that are right to begin with, not like, oh, I'll take care of that
Yeah, just
later.
front
like,
end of that shit,
yeah,
like-
you know, like yeah, just like really focus on that and getting the sounds right from the get go. And the thing about that, like the more I've pursued that, the more I feel like I've gotten like great results. Where
Of
by the
course.
time I'm mixing, it's just like you push faders up, you know, to zero
To
without,
zero,
and it's just like,
it's-
yeah,
okay, there it
it's
is.
pretty much 90% of the way there. You know, and it just makes everything so much more rewarding too, where you're like, you know, you hear the first playback after you track something, and it's like, yeah, it's already getting there.
That's the guitar sound. That's
yeah,
the bass
that's the drum
Like,
sound. That's the, you know,
I don't like looking down the endless possibilities route, like in
Yeah.
post production. You know, like okay, this is Danny's guitar amp. This is what it sounds like. We took some time and figured out how to mic it, and now I know how to mic your amp every time it comes in. You know, then we can angle it like this, and then the drums are over there, and there's no bleed, and this and that, and this and that. It's horrible saying you will remember this, but it was like you would go into the studio and setup was 4 hours, right off the bat. There seems to be a shift in like the inherent value of just like take 4 hours now, set it up, and it's gonna save you countless hours.
yeah, but again,
On the
you know,
other
people they can't.
I'll run a
they-
DI.
they-
If you want a DI, we'll run a DI too.
Sure, sure,
Like,
but that's the
like,
problem, man. Like people, you know, and as part of it is because of like what's happened to the business and the culture. Like there's less money. People are constantly feeling the constraints of time. So then people also, out of lack of experience, because a lot of the old kind of systems that musicians and cats had to go through, where they would learn because the industry and the business was there, and there was like, you know, this you know, culture of apprenticeship, you know, let's say in studios or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, the thing is now, I think also because, again, people are inexperienced, even if you explain it to them, like, trust me, if you spend this extra 4 hours doing this now, you know, it still kind of doesn't register, and they're being penny wise and pound foolish, you know?
But then some of them can't even sit for 4 hours.
Well, that's a whole nother
You know what I'm saying?
issue, too, yeah.
I think I kind of feel like what's going on now was what like we experienced in the 80s, where like you can buy the dopest Casio keyboard at Target. Like technology became so affordable, along with a lot of the cool technology developed in the 80s. There's equally as like nauseous technology.
Sure.
It sounds, you know, we're in the cycle where like that's happening now. We're experiencing again the good and the bad.
Yeah,
Like
it's a flip
practical
over.
applications of technology. And
I will
music.
I will totally agree with you with one caveat, which is just the fact that
Hey, good night, everybody.
yeah, and we're out. The difference is that the technology that's available now, it's like technically, if you know what you're doing, sure, you can produce a track in GarageBand on your laptop.
Yeah.
That can be sold and be put out internationally for the world to consume.
Yeah.
And that also, unfortunately, breeds like the whole environment of like, oh, I've got
Anybody
GarageBand
can
and a
do
laptop. I'm a producer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
You know, not even
Yeah, we
close.
just flooded the gates
Right, and that's again like too like
and
there's
made it a broader landscape, which makes everything harder.
Well,
harder-
which also contributes to the devaluation of
exactly
music.
yeah exactly it devalues everything because you
Anybody
like there's
can do it.
there's
Yeah,
more
exactly.
there's more music out for public consumption than ever before in the history of recorded music, and most of it, I'm not going to put even a percentage on it, but like the bulk of it is
Garbage.
inconsequential garbage
Yeah.
that like you have to sift through, and people who are really like there are so many talents that are deserving
Get
of
lost
wider
in it.
exposure, but
Get
again,
lost in it. It's actually a thin line.
Well,
they
hey-
could really cut it down, man. There's a lot of fat on that steak, man. They could chop that shit right off.
Well,
I'm a
yeah,
surgeon
but
when I have my
not every-
steaks.
look, not
I don't eat
everybody-
none of that fat. I cut that shit right.
not
the fuck
everybody's
off.
not everybody's profiting from that, but the difference is that, and you can make a total correlation to what's happening in the world economically.
Mm-hmm.
The middle is being eroded.
Yeah.
Of course.
So you're either an independent artist that is just like busting their asses and just scraping by to be able to do what they're doing or whatever, or you're part of the music industry 1%.
Yeah, the content people.
Yeah, well, and like you're just like one of the stars that gets like the bulk of the money from like major labels,
Right.
Because you're the marquee artist, you're the golden cash cow,
Yeah, you just had a string of
right? And there used to be like it's like what happened in New York. There's been a mass exodus of world class musicians that I've known over the 22 years I've been in New York. Like over the last 10 years, like so many people have left. Because
You can't make a living
it's
here doing
untenable, yeah. Like cost
It's
of living
harder
has
to
gone
sustain, man.
and it's harder to sustain. The business in general has gone down, but specifically in New York as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Like you didn't have to be a superstar to be a working musician that could make a decent living.
Yeah,
And there were opportunities and whatever. And there's just like, that's a whole
the loss of like
But you know where that shit is?
Yeah.
It's in smaller places.
right. But then like at least
Doing that this is my opinion. I think this is I don't know. I might be wrong on this, but I have a theory. I think you could do that now in a small place and make the kind of money that I think so. I think you can. It just is a lot less glamorous.
well, no, but that's the thing. It's like it's not about the glamour. It's just like the reason why people would move to New York.
what's the return?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're thinking long term
Well,
about
it'd be
your
monetary.
career, is the fact that like you have opportunities here where you can keep working, but then also you have opportunities to elevate your situation and your career stock.
Right.
Where in those places it's just like you're just working.
But that's what I mean.
You know?
You sustain.
Yeah, but even then, man, like it's like I mean, we know cats back in our hometown, like Milwaukee, where it's like there's also less gigs, there's less work, and everybody's like backbiting and all this like
Yeah, it gets
bullshit,
pretty-
and like it gets real petty and
It's small. It's a
and it's
smaller
small,
place.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
New York is the only there's a lot of room because there's so many different levels of the shit.
And that's the thing too. Like even with people that I've known that made the exodus from like New York to LA, 'cause
That was
the
a tough
overall,
one to watch.
Oh man, like so many people that like But hey, listen, everybody's got to do what they got to do. I have certain circumstances that have kept me in New York, that are both like practical and have to do with my actual life, and then other things that are also just like artistic and creative considerations because New York is still New York, and there are certain things that New York cultivates that do not exist anywhere else, really.
And the things that we
You know.
do is an actual industry here.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, for example, like I've actually talked to guys I know who were coming from somewhere else, had moved to LA, built up a career or whatever, and then like they're even making the move now from LA to Nashville.
A lot of people going to New Orleans and Nashville.
Yeah, because
But Nashville
man,
people have always been going there.
well, the Nashville thing, because the environment has changed so much. Like it's not just country.
I've never been there.
I've only been there a few times. I know a lot of people that live there, but like, you know,
I would like to check it out.
yeah, it's cool, man. I mean,
As I get
it's-
older as a musician, I understand Nashville better.
Yeah.
right? Well, and also,
And there's always been the stigma of like Nashville.
well, it was country. It was like the country music industry.
Yeah. But now, what's it like?
Well, it's just expanded more because,
It's very
like,
pop
you know,
now, right?
country has become way more mainstream, and they deal with like, you know,
Right.
like you listen to like a top 40 country record and a top 40 like pop record.
Yeah.
The only
It doesn't
difference
even
is the
sound like
country one's
country
got
music.
like slide guitar on it.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't
You
even
know,
sound
right?
like country music.
And you know, like Taylor Swift or whatever, she's like an example of like the crossover where she like they sort of brought her out as like sort of a new country artist or whatever.
Homogenization, man.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
just, like,
And-
across
and-
the
well, no,
board
and-
with everything.
Well, and also,
Everything. It's homogenization 100%.
but you know, like Waylon and you know, like the Outlaws, like Waylon and Willie and stuff,
Cash,
like Johnny Cash, like
Christopherson.
Nashville. Once it hit like the 70s and going into the 80s, they shat on them.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
That's why when
Waylon
Rick-
beat some dude up in the studio, beat up a producer.
Well, you know the story about like when Johnny Cash's first record on Rick Rubin's label came out, they took out a full page ad in Billboard, I think, and it was the old classic picture of Johnny Cash giving the finger, and
Folsom Prison.
yeah, exactly. And but the thing was just like, and I think this is maybe when they got nominated for a Grammy for it. They're like, we'd love to thank the traditional country music industry, like in Nashville, for all their support over the years. And they took a full page ad out. It was just the best fuck you, like,
that's the reason.
because they shat on him, man.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the reason they called themselves the Outlaws.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they were just like Waylon was fucking beating people up and just like not fucking around.
I mean, Willie tried
Willie's
to play the
just
game in
like-
Nashville, and then he said,
Yeah.
fuck it, and moved
I'm
back
just gonna
to Austin.
Yeah,
and-
I'm just gonna live the rest of my life on the road. You know, for the most part.
But
Christopherson just doing acting, and
Everything,
music,
yeah.
and you know,
Yeah,
like
moving around.
But
Christopherson's got some great fucking.
Yeah,
oh, dude,
Yeah,
he's one of the
like-
great American songwriters
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure, man.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, Nashville is just, I mean, it's still country centric for sure. But like
Yeah.
Jack White, he basically moved his whole company, Third Man, down there probably already like 10 years ago, if not more. And so there's like kind of a scene surrounding that, and there's just like more different stuff happening. But the crazy thing is like it now, like Nashville is like the last full on music town. Like that's their biggest industry.
They do
And-
have United Pressing down there too. And
Oh yeah, but that's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
just the music industry
it's still
overall.
industry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still an actual industry.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like their main industry. Whereas like even in New York or LA, you know, it's like you got LA, you got the movie industry, and New York is just turning into like business shit.
Bullshit industry.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah, dude. New York is crazy
Like,
right now.
sucks, man.
You remember this neighborhood?
And that's what I mean. That's what I'm laughing at, man.
my
Like,
God.
dude, me and Angie over like last summer already, we were just like, where the fuck did all these fucking people come from?
It's fucking buzzing.
Dude, yeah, it's gonna get crazy. But you know what? As far as like our immediate neighborhood and our loft law coverage, because you know the end game is like a buyout.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I'm like, bring it on.
Yeah,
You're just
sure.
increasing the fucking property value with every
Yeah.
new fucking thing you build. And dude, like our neighborhood, holy fuck! I just read a thing that in Fort Greene. I mean, we're technically in what they call the Navy Yard area because we're on the wrong side of the tracks from Park Ave and Myrtle. No, dude, the fucking I just found out that the median rent for a one bed in Fort Greene is $3,200.
Wow.
Woohoo!
That's crazy, man.
Dude, I am just counting my blessings for
Dude.
you know.
Yo, that when we had the garage down here with the you remember the garage we had down there with the half pipe?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course, dude. I remember the first time
Yeah.
I walked in
With
there
the-
seeing
the
Paulie
bar.
just fucking
Ripping
out
it,
of there.
dude.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what is happening in here?
Yeah.
Dude, we had the live music set
Oh, it
up.
was great.
Yeah.
I love that place.
It was great.
Yeah, it
that
wasn't
that
far
was
from
the
here, right?
playhouse. It's right down the street, a block down.
You had there was the big mirror and then the skyline.
Yeah.
New York
Dude,
skyline
Matt
thing.
Scarface.
And then you had your fucking blue chopper.
Yeah, it was great. The white chopper. The white chopper was white.
The first one you.
Oh, the blue one. Yes, the turquoise one.
I have pictures of Nicole.
Oh,
Yeah,
I remember
sitting
that.
on that fucking chopper.
Remember that
the
one?
350 chopper. Yeah. The Honda 350.
I don't even think I saw the white one.
Oh, that's the one I still have. It's not white.
Oh.
It's not white anymore, but I still have that bike from all that time, man. That's a long time. Fuck. Like,
Anybody want to buy a BMX cruiser?
no.
I gotta just like I think I just need to donate that shit to like recycle a bike.
Why?
I
don't
just
want
like
it?
I don't have the space for it, and it's been sitting with flat tires for because like I got my mountain bike, and I actually want to flip that and get a bike more like Angie's because every time I ride hers, I'm just like so jealous. I bought a dirt jumper because like I grew up riding trails like BMX mountain bikes and everything. Like
I was
love
thinking
the
about
shit.
that shit today, actually.
Yeah, like Ice Age Trail. And
You would have
all-
like your fields, like when you were going to your buddy's house or going to somewhere, like you had certain fields you could run through and you do the jumps.
Dude,
and the
even in
path and
Milwaukee
shit.
in the city, Lake Park, the fucking crazy jump. with
Yeah.
There's a
Hell
John has a picture of him doing a full like tweak,
Yeah?
like tabletop jump. Yeah, like on
John?
dude.
Oh shit.
Dude, John threw down back in the day. Like,
I used to see John at the turf when I used to skate at the
right.
turf with our set.
yeah, I knew I was never good enough to like really skate bowls, and I was not trying to. I mean, I was already into like music really hardcore at that point, and I knew like I had friends that were incredible skateboarders, and I was just like,
I'm doing this.
yeah.
That's how it goes.
I love
though.
skating.
But that's how it goes.
I was
Yeah.
skating and playing music at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just didn't have the same talent with skating.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's one of those things that
Yeah.
You know.
But I still have
It's
it.
crazy to see
So much fun.
the amount of yeah, it's super fun, and it's what I miss about skating now is that. Well, no, this is probably not fair for me to say that. It just means that I'm just older and I'm not out there.
Danny, that's not fair.
I'm not
You're
out there
old.
rolling with the
The
youngins.
old man.
I'm not out there rolling with the youngins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, I was about to say that it doesn't feel like the same amount of how we did it back in. But that's some bullshit. It's not true. These young kids they're just doing it their own way.
Yeah.
You're it's just like you're
But,
not in it.
Yeah,
You're not living
I
it.
caught myself. I was like, oh, don't be a fucking old.
The
ass.
thing that gets me now is like I see the size of the boards and it takes me back to like remember Rodney Mullen and
Oh,
you're like
yeah.
with the
The
little
old
freestyle
freestyle
board.
boards.
And
The
shit.
only
Yeah,
thing that I think
Dude,
is
'cause
different
those
now.
boards were so wide.
The only thing I think that is different now with skateboarding from when we were kids and before us, compared to now, what it's like, is that back then, you got beef for being a skater.
Oh, it's way more
Immediately.
socially acceptable.
Now it's like this shit is on the fucking.
Yo,
let's
the
be on
city
Olympics, dude.
just built a skate park underneath the BQE overpass, like 6 blocks from my house,
Yo,
right
this
before
shit's
you get the
supposed to be in
Manhattan
the
Bridge.
Olympics. Seriously, skateboarding is supposed to be in the
totally. Yeah,
Olympics,
yeah.
man. You know what I mean? So that's a far cry from what was happening when we were doing it.
Oh yeah,
When we were doing it, all it represented was being a fucking asshole
yeah.
to society. You
Yeah,
were
you're
like,
like, you
fuck
put marks
you.
on the wall.
It was just super punk rock, man. It was like,
Yeah.
against like you could pick what level you wanted to go with it. You could be total like anarchy style, whatever, and that was your way. It
was
allowed a
creative
lot of
expression.
children to be an artist.
Right.
Just,
Yeah.
They just found a skateboard. And they were like, yo, I can do this too.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
they,
and
they
then-
would make tricks. Back then, like now it's easier, man. Kids just watch YouTube and they learn how to be a fucking good skater now. Fast.
Oh,
Like in a year, you can be a young kid getting on a skate. If you had some good athleticism, you can ride a skateboard. You can watch enough fucking videos in 1 year that will make you a fucking phenomenal skateboarder.
sure. Oh, I mean, listen.
You might not have the best style, but you can technically learn how to watch it on YouTube, learn it and apply it like any martial art, like any kind of dance routine. You can learn it, program
Man,
your
you-
body
you-
to muscle memory, and perform that trick. Whether or not you can add your own style, that's the electric energy that we're not talking about in this conversation.
Right.
You know, that's the spirit side of it. That's a whole other thing.
No,
You know
it's
what I'm saying?
you got me really hyped by bringing that up because it's the same thing that I've been saying for a while about like since like the prevalence of YouTube. Like I have totally seen the fact in younger musicians that are coming up, like guys that are really studying and like really like focused on being instrumentalists or whatever on whatever their axe is. Back in the day, you only had whatever amount of money you could spend on buying music.
Yeah,
So
right.
you made it count and you listened to that record 1,000 times and you digested every last bit of it that you could.
Yeah.
And now everything is just on tap. on demand.
all the
like
time.
shit, the
Yeah.
shit that
You get lazy
I had
with
to
it.
dig for like actually getting the music, and then I had to work my ass off to transcribe either just by ear or actually writing it down or something.
Or like sit
And-
down
and
behind the kit with the headphones on and play it.
That's
and
what I
you're
mean.
just
That's what I mean by like orally
yeah.
transcribing. Like I remember literally looking up one thing that like I spent a year on, like because like something that was like really advanced and like really pushed me and helped me to like go through the process of learning, and then like years later, like within the last 10 years, like going like, oh, let me look that up on YouTube, and sure enough, like 4 different versions of just like here's exactly how you do it. And I think that's great in one way if the kids or the younger musicians have got like the right artistic mentality and are going to use that technique the right way. But there's definitely many situations where I've heard these cats like it's like James Brown talking loud ain't saying nothing. It's like they have all this facility, but it's like, what are you expressing? Like it just sounds like somebody with like a huge vocabulary but doesn't understand grammar. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Every instrument, you have an example of the same thing.
It's so devoid of feel, but the technique is like completely there.
Yeah, like that. Like on paper, they're killing it, but you're just like,
I had a friend growing up. His sister was classically trained on the piano, right?
Right.
And I was like, "Yo, do you ever like just jam out, And she's like, just like improvise and play. Yeah, you just like bang chords, like
see what comes out.
And she's like, no, I never really improvised. I don't know how. I was like, you never sat down at a piano and like, like you never even like, and she had no ability to just create melodies on her own. But you put that shit in front of them, and you're like, holy fuck, this person's killing it.
But that's the thing. Like I've said this before too, where I would rather work with a musician who has got limited training but got great ideas and great
That's where
musical
I come in.
instincts.
Hi.
That
Hi, guys. I'm the limited musician
no,
with
but
great
it's not-
party
it's-
skills.
So we cut like 3 reggae tunes. So I called the session, and it was Josh on bass, Raj on guitar, Danny playing rhythm guitar.
Never did it.
He's hitting me up on the like the week before the session. Hey man, make sure you send me that stuff. Like, and I'm pulling the Omar
man, you
Hakim
fucked me
shit
up
like
with that
those
shit.
guys. I'm like, dude, you got this, man. Don't even worry about it. He's like, yeah, but send me the music.
Yeah.
I was having a heart attack, man.
So he shows up, right? And like him and Raja playing together. Like
This is my first
on some
time meeting
shit.
Raja,
Yeah, he
though.
never met Raja before. And he's just like, I've heard his music and he sounds good.
He
Like-
sounds good. He's all right.
He can play, I guess.
I was sweating fucking bullets the whole time, dude. I was like, holy shit. I don't think I've ever played that clean with that much feel at the same time ever in my life.
You know why? Because that you just experienced like because you cared about it. Because of the situation that you're not used to and that you don't have experience with, it like pushed you up. It's like when like like I situations where like or any of us where like
I had to execute.
you're the least talented of the people that you're playing with. It lifts you up.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt.
You
get plugged into it. You get
So
plugged
that's the
into
thing,
it.
and it's all about awareness, and that's
Yeah.
one of the biggest lessons I learned about making music and just opening yourself up to be that channel of creativity and not getting in your own way and stepping on your dick, so to speak. Like it's so psychological. It's such a psychological, spiritual thing. And,
totally.
And
When you get plugged in,
I had
that shit is
somebody-
like on, man.
It takes a complete letting go of like a lot of shit.
You know
And
what's funny?
You
Someone
just let yourself fall into the music.
Yeah.
you just allow yourself to do it.
Yeah. When you're executing it, you might get lost in the, timing, kind of like, just keeping it going. But if you're not listening the whole time,
What used to fuck
I've definitely caught myself being like, oh shit.
I would be counting in my head, but I'm not listening to where the bass is.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what people.
That's the how long have I been driving for?
Yeah.
How long have I not been paying attention?
It's such a basic thing, and we'll overlook it sometimes.
That's a perfect point. I mean, you're dropping golden nuggets because that's exactly.
golden nuggets, man.
I just shit my pants with gold.
I instantly
Billy
regretted
Golden
saying
Nuggets.
that. I knew. How did I know it was gonna go there?
El Nuggets Dorado. That's the fucking spaghetti western that you're in. That's our spaghetti western record.
in ancient 1800s Wild West.
Ancient 1800s.
1800s.
It's
As opposed
vintage
to the
and
regular
like
1800s. We're talking about the ancient ones.
throw some raptors in there. Fucking mix it all up. Fucking the aliens that interbreeded with the Aztecs. Like throw them in there too. Like